South Carolina's Cottage Food Laws. So if you're looking to start a home-based food business and you live in the great state of South Carolina, you definitely want to watch this video from beginning to end. I'm going to give you the 10 steps of what you need to do and some additional resources and information. So stick with me to the end. Give me about 10, 15 minutes of your time and you'll understand what you can make and do from the home kitchen, actually under South Carolina's Cottage Food Laws. So number one, understanding South Carolina's Cottage Food Laws. Now, basically, South Carolina has implemented specific regulations governing the production of sale of cottage foods. Now, these laws are designed to ensure food safety while providing opportunities for small-scale home-based food entrepreneurs to get businesses started. Now, some of the really cool things, the key features about South Carolina's Cottage Food Laws, though, is the allowed foods. Typically includes non-potentially hazardous foods, and by the way, I'll go over that list momentarily to give you a full idea of what that is, that do not require refrigeration. For example, things like baked goods, jellies, candies, jams, dried herbs, or even certain canned goods even, which is unlike some other states that have cottage food laws as well. Now, your business size and your revenue limits. Now, the one thing you got to keep in mind, though, there are restrictions on the annual gross revenue, and it's up to $50,000 a year from the home kitchen to qualify as a cottage food operation. Now, direct sales. So sales are generally limited to direct-to-consumer channels such as farmers markets, roadside stands, online sales with direct delivery or shipping. They have to be done into the direct consumer. Next up, labeling requirements. We're going to cover that too in a little more detail. Proper labeling with ingredient lists, allergen information, and business details is a mandatory thing. Now, registration and permits. The registration with state health departments or relevant regulatory bodies is required before starting your operations. Now, note, always you want to verify the most current regulations with South Carolina's Department of Health and Environmental Control or relevant state authorities, because time to time they do actually update or they add to cottage food laws, but all the information I'm about to give you is as of 2024. Number two, allowed cottage foods in South Carolina. So let's get into this. South Carolina does permit the production of sale of various non-potentially hazardous foods. Things like baked goods, that could be cookies, it could be cakes, breads, muffins, anything without cream or a custard filling, by the way. You got to keep that in mind because that is a refrigerated or time or temperature sensitive ingredient. Now, confectionaries. You can actually start a candy business from home. You can make multitudes of candies. Fudge, chocolate-covered items. This is also allowed as well. Jams and jellies, preserved fruits or fruit spreads you can actually do from home. This is actually unique because a lot of cottage food states actually don't allow any type of preserves or fruit spreads, but you can definitely do that in South Carolina. Now, dry goods, things like popcorns, granolas, or even trail mixes, dried herbs, or even spices. You can actually do a spice business from home. Granola is hugely popular, and popcorn is one of the most marketable and profitable products on the market. Beverages. Now, things like homemade lemonade or specialty teas that have no alcohol in them may be allowed as well. Again, you want to double check specifically with your city or county on that one. But beverages, which is also unique as well. Canned goods, so low acid canned foods such as pickles or even certain sauces. You want to follow specific canning guidelines in order to do that. Now, prohibited foods. Now, these would be potentially hazardous foods requiring temperature control, such as meat, let's say, or dairy. And items such as containing eggs or other high-risk ingredients are typically excluded unless additional certifications or inspections are obtained. Now, number three, so registrations, licensing requirements. What is that all about, Damien? Well, to legally operate a cottage food business in South Carolina, you must comply with several registration and licensing steps. Number one, business registration. So choose a business structure. Decide whether or not you will operate as a sole proprietorship or LLC or another business entity. And by the way, if you're looking to do that online, check down below. We've got some great resources in the description below this video. If you open up that area, you can take a look at even more additional resources. Register a business name. I highly recommend you do that. So if you're operating under a name different from your own legal name, register it as a doing business as or a DBA name with South Carolina Secretary of State. Next one up, cottage food registration. So application process. You want to submit an application to the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, okay, or the local health department. Fees, you want to pay any associated fees or registration fees that may come in play. You want to double check again with the city or county you're in to see what they actually require. Now, in some cases, a home kitchen inspection may be required to ensure compliance with health and safety standards, so you want to be careful as well with that. So, number four, labeling requirements. Let's dive into that. So, proper labeling, of course, with any food product is crucial for compliance and customer satisfaction, of course, consumer safety as well. So, South Carolina's cottage food laws actually typically require the following information on the product labels. Number one, the product name. You want to clearly state what the product is. Okay, if it's chocolate chip cookies, Make sure, obviously, that it states chocolate chip cookies. Ingredient list. All ingredients must be listed in descending order by weight. I get this question a lot. What does that mean? So if you are making, let's say, a cake, the predominant ingredient obviously will be flour, and then probably sugar, and then milk, and so on. So everything in descending order by weight. Next one is allergen information. You want to make sure you highlight any common allergens like nuts or dairy or gluten. The FDA doesn't necessarily regulate that, but you want to make sure you might want to put that on there because consumers may be allergic to certain nuts, and if you're dealing with nuts and other allergens, they could be aware of that. So net weight, you want to specify the net weight or the volume of the product, okay? So let's say if it was 16 ounces of trail mix, okay? You're doing a granola or something. You want to make sure that the 16 ounces is the net weight. That's any weight outside of the package or anything that's in. So you don't want to weigh the packaging. You want to weigh just the product. Now, producer's information, you want to include the name and address of the cottage food operation and also a declaration statement that says made in a home kitchen or something to the effect of produced in a home kitchen to inform consumers that's not actually something that's mass produced in a commercial kitchen. Next one up is a sales channel. So how do you want to sell your product? Well, in South Carolina, you can do it under farmers markets, direct sales. These would be vendor applications that could apply for like farmers markets. You want to definitely check out those in your local area. Community events, social media, or even online marketing. Believe it or not, you can do that through like Facebook groups or local Facebook page. But just keep in mind that when you deliver it or have them come pick it up, it has to be in person. So some other tips. Step 6, food safety and handling. Now, of course, cleanliness. You want to maintain a clean kitchen environment, regularly sanitize surfaces and equipment that you're actually using specifically for your business. Next one would be proper storage. So storing ingredients and finished products are appropriate to prevent any contamination. Using airtight containers can help maintain freshness of the ingredients that you're using. Temperature controls is too. Just keep perishable ingredients, obviously refrigerated or frozen as required. Avoid the use of prohibited, potentially hazardous ingredients unless they're properly certified. Next one up is 7 is local zoning and home business regulations. Now, this is something you want to keep in mind because in some cases, you want to be aware of zoning compliance. So you want to check with your local city or county zoning office to ensure that home-based food businesses are permitted in that area. And normally they are, and they don't have actually the legal right to override it, but you want to double check to make sure. Homeowners associations. Now, obviously, if you have an HOA, if you reside in an area governed by an HOA, review the rules regarding home-based businesses. Now, signage and traffic. Of course, you're not going to put a sign on your lawn that says, Damien's Cafe or something like that. But you want to adhere to any regulations regarding signage and managing any impact it has on traffic in the actual neighborhood. Now, number 8 is insurance and liability. Now, most cottage food states, including South Carolina, doesn't require or mandate insurance, but general liability insurance, product liability insurance is good to have, even home-based business insurance. This can cover any business-related property or equipment use in your home. General liability insurance is great because it covers claims related to the product. It also takes the liability away from you. So if you happen to get sued or something, every business can actually be sued for something. But you want to make sure you have insurance to cover that. Number 9, financial considerations and record keeping. Now remember, cottage food businesses are just that. It's a business. So you want to start with a business bank account. You want to open a separate bank account for cottage food business to manage the finances effectively, okay? Next one is accounting and bookkeeping. You want to keep detailed records of income, expenses, and inventory. Use accounting software or even hire a professional accountant if necessary to help keep track of that because you are operating a business. So if you have a profit, you do have to account for that and pay taxes on it. Tax obligations, there we go. Understanding the federal, state, and local tax obligations. Collect and remit sales taxes as required by South Carolina law. Now, most food, actually in most states, don't have any type of taxation, but you want to double check with your state. Scaling the business. Number 10, the big part. So as your home-based food business grows, you want to consider some of the following things. Expanding your product line. Now, introduce new products that comply, of course, with cottage food laws or seek necessary permits for additional items you want to make. Next one up is upgrading facilities. Now, if demand increases beyond your home kitchen capabilities, you might want to look into a commercial kitchen rental or other places to expand that operation. Marketing strategy. You want to invest in some advanced marketing techniques too to reach a broader audience. This could be like running Facebook ads. You can actually do that for a home-based food business. Number 11, next up, resources and support. If you ever need additional help, there's things like South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Check them out online. Small Business Administration too. Local small business development centers, they're all over South Carolina. Those can also help you expand your business. Food safety training programs. It's always good to know more information. You want to enroll in courses to enhance your knowledge or food safety practices. And lastly, number 12, let's give you a little additional help. Steps to starting your home-based food business. Let's recap. Research and planning, of course, understand the cottage food laws and determine which products you want to offer. Number 2, develop a business plan. Always good to have a business plan because it gives you some form of direction and way you want to go. Outline your business goals, strategy, and financial projections. Register your business. Choose, of course, the business structure. Obtaining necessary permits and licenses as needed. Setting up your kitchen. Ensure that your home kitchen meets health safety standards. Create a product labels. Of course, design compliant labels with all the required information. Launch your marketing efforts. Start selling. Maintain your compliance and manage your finances. So for this and more, definitely subscribe here to Cottage Food Laws. We have a lot of great information, not only about South Carolina, but marketing, packaging, labeling, and so much more. I'll see you on our next video.